In recent weeks, discussions about Iran's military strategy had focused almost entirely on one possibility: the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. Analysts and media outlets repeatedly warned that shutting this vital maritime chokepoint could paralyze global oil supplies and send shockwaves through energy markets. That scenario is no longer theoretical. With Iran now having closed the Strait of Hormuz, the world's attention has immediately turned to the consequences. Yet, while this move alone carries enormous implications, the deeper risk may lie beyond the strait itself, in Iran's ability to strike the wider oil and gas infrastructure of its neighbors across the Persian Gulf. The logic behind this is straightforward. For years, Iran understood that threats alone could sometimes delay or complicate American or international intervention. But once Tehran moves from threats to actual action, the consequences can extend far beyond the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. The Iranian leadership is aware that moments of strategic pressure often demand higher risk-taking. From Tehran's perspective, several Gulf states, particularly Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, are not neutral actors but participants in a broader regional confrontation. With the exception of Oman, which maintains relatively balanced relations with Iran, much of the Gulf's energy infrastructure is therefore viewed in Tehran as part of the wider strategic landscape and potentially within the scope of retaliation. Key oil fields, pipelines and export terminals across the Persian Gulf lie well within the range of Iran's short-range missile arsenal, and in certain coastal areas even within reach of artillery positions along the Iranian shoreline. This geographic reality creates a scenario in which Tehran could, if it chose to escalate further, systematically target critical energy infrastructure across the region. In addition, some of these areas are home to sizable Shia communities. While these populations are an integral part of their respective societies, their presence can complicate internal security dynamics during periods of heightened tension, potentially creating conditions that external actors might attempt to exploit through proxy networks or covert operations. Historical precedent supports these concerns. During the 1991 Gulf War, Iraqi forces set fire to Kuwaiti oil fields during their withdrawal. The resulting fires raged for nearly a year and caused massive environmental and economic damage. If Iran were to combine missile and drone attacks with proxy operations, the result could be similar: oil wells set ablaze, refineries damaged, and export terminals disrupted. Such a scenario would not only drive oil prices higher, but could also destabilize global energy markets. Markets are quick to react to perceived risks. If investors begin to price in the possibility of widespread destruction in the Persian Gulf, Brent crude and WTI could easily spike above $100 per barrel. This is not merely a speculation. History shows that supply shocks in this region have immediate global impacts. Any sustained disruption could trigger a ripple effect, affecting energy prices, inflation, and geopolitical calculations worldwide. The situation becomes even more complex when considering the role of the United States. If Iran were to paralyze Hormuz for an extended period, Washington might feel compelled to protect domestic energy prices ahead of key political events, potentially by limiting its own oil and gas exports. This would leave Europe in a precarious position. Russian supplies could be reduced or entirely halted. Middle Eastern energy routes might be under attack, and American exports could be restricted. In such a scenario, what might begin as a regional energy crisis could rapidly escalate into a global one. The ongoing tensions between Iran and Israel add another layer of complexity to the situation. The rivalry between the two countries has increasingly played out across the wider Middle East through covert operations, cyber activities, and targeted strikes. In such an environment, any major Iranian escalation against Gulf energy infrastructure could risk widening the conflict beyond the Gulf itself. Military responses, counter-responses, or even preemptive actions by regional actors could rapidly intensify the crisis, turning what begins as an energy disruption into a much broader regional confrontation. That is it for today. I'm Tayan Rahmani. Keep watching PolicyWire.